Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly values, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hello, everyone. How are we doing? Hopefully we are doing fine. Thank you so much for kicking off the contributions. RBN said for the good works. I appreciate you. Appreciate you so much. I'm gonna be doing some traveling. I'm going to see family for the next week. I'm gonna be traveling on Friday. So it is not likely that I'm going to be having any show. I may have a show Saturday and Sunday though, and or Saturday and or Sunday. Not sure about both days, but I'm still going to be doing shows. I'm just going to be in a different location. So, like I said, I'm going to travel. I'm traveling, going to see family, visit some family this week. So, when you see me, next time you see me after Thursday is regular. Tomorrow is a regular day. But Friday I'm traveling. So I'm not going to be able to be doing a show. But the next time after that, for the next week, you're going to see me in a different location. It's going to be probably through my phone. Not sure. No, I'm going to take my laptop. So just be ready for that. So just wanted to let y'all know. We still going to be doing shows to the best of my ability, right? Because I got a hotspot. Her internet is pretty good, so I shouldn't have a problem, but I am going to be renting a car. So if I gotta go in the streams in the whip, y'all like them streams in the car. Don't even play. Like y'all was in there for them car streams. I don't know what it was about the car streams. But the car streams I must admit, I was kind of cooking on them car streams. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I was low-key cooking. Okay, I just wanted to do that. Thank you, Real Books, for translating the captation. Thank you so much. We're coming back to or continuing the conversation about why marriage is useless to men. Last night, I was watching DJ Hamp's channel. Shout out to Hamp at This May Be Risky. Like I said, they have interesting conversations at times. And so last night, it was supposedly a conversation about the sisterhood and taking a deep dive into it and what is it about and things of that nature. And I know people wanted me to get on the panel, and I decided not to get on the panel, even though he did end up dropping a link. I decided not to do it. If you'd have caught me like 4 years ago, I cleared that panel. Not so much today. Not so much now, right? Because anybody that want to hear what I have to say can come here to hear what I have to say. Aside from that, the things that I say are not really debatable. Precisely. Precisely. That is usually why I work when I travel, because it becomes work. Mhm. Right. And so my point in mentioning it is because at one point during that conversation, the question was asked, why don't men want to marry women? And among so many other things that was discussed on that panel by the denizens of the boneyard, it's so disingenuous. It's such a disingenuous way in which they have conversation. And this is actually one of the reasons why I don't join panels to talk to them. Is because they're not going to change what they do. And so I thought that was it was a backhanded question too, the way that they phrased it, because it was like, well, men are zesty, right? They zesty because they don't really want to marry women. So it's got to be like a sexuality problem, the reason why they don't want women. And because again, nothing is ever the fault of hyenas. They're not ever at fault about anything. And so the men's answers were milquetoast, right? They had milquetoast answers to that. But I'm here to really delve into it. Why men aren't marrying. This is probably, I don't know that this is going to be a part 3. I may not need a part 3 to this. I believe that I'm going to be able to say everything that I want to say about this topic right here. The issue, aside from the divorce laws and the manipulative tactics that hyenas like to use in order to drive their marriages into divorce so that they can reap whatever benefit that they can reap. There's also the problem of the quality of women. And at first I was going to title this Low Quality Women. And then I thought about it. Why are they low quality? What makes them low quality? What makes the vast pool of women not be the first, second, or a good third choice for wives and wifehood? And then when I thought about it, I said, well, it's the mindset. Well, okay, we know that. We know about, being transactional in the marriage. But then I thought a little deeper. Okay, transactional. But then what else though? Like, what else is it? And what it boils down to is the consideration of marriages as either a covenant or a contract. It's either covenant or contract. The problem is that so many women view the marriage as a contract, not a covenant, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to, even though I have my differences typed out, I want to define covenant, and then I also want to define contract. Okay. So, when we take a look, I want to share. When we take a look at the definition of the word covenant, we find that it is actually being made to be synonymous with contract, right? But it's not quite the same. And in this instance, when we talk about marriage, I'm going to differentiate them. Then you'll understand why there's a difference. So, covenant, a usually formal, solemn, and binding agreement, a compact. And two, a written agreement or promise, usually under seal between two or more parties, especially for the performance of some action. And 2B, the common law action, to recover damages for breach of such a contract. And so, as a transitive verb, it's a pledge. As an intransitive verb, it is a contract. And they also have contract down here as a synonym for the word covenant. So when we click contract, it also says a binding agreement between two or more persons or parties, especially one legally enforceable. Okay. Even though they have these two words as synonymous. Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the etymology. We're going to go back and we're going to hit on the etymology of the words. But even though they have the words covenant and contract as synonyms, we can even see here there's still a difference in the definition. So contract goes a couple of steps further. 1A, a binding agreement between two or more persons or parties, especially one legally enforceable. 1B, a business arrangement for the supply of goods or services at a fixed price. And 1C, the act of marriage or an agreement to marry. See how the enemy put marriage under contract and not covenant? See, we gotta pay attention because this is a dictionary. This is the Merriam-Webster online version of the dictionary. So this is secular. This is secular. Notice how they labeled marriage under contract, not under covenant. I need y'all to pay close attention to this fact. Number 2, a document describing the terms of a contract. Number 3, the final bid to win a specified number of tricks in bridge. And number 4, an order or arrangement for a hired assassin to unalive someone. Okay. Right. And they've got it again to betroth, to establish or undertake by contract. You understand that a betrothal is a promise to marry, okay, like an engagement, to be betrothed to someone. Now, instead of the synonyms, let's go to the etymology. Give me 2 seconds. We're going to do the etymology. Okay. So don't worry, we going somewhere. So when we talk about the etymology of the word covenant, okay, a mutual, let me make this a little bit bigger because mutual compact to do or not do something, a contract, right? Old French covenant, convenant, agreement, pact, promise, originally participle of convenir, agreed to meet from Latin convenire. I hope I'm saying it right. Come together, unite, be suitable, agree, right? From come together, right? In law, a promise made by deed. This is the important part. Applied in scripture to God's arrangements with man as a translation of the Latin testamentum, Greek diatheke. I hope I'm not butchering that too bad. Both rendering Hebrew berith, though testament is also used for the same word in different places, meaning a solemn agreement between members of a church, is from the 1630s, specifically those of the Scottish Presbyterians in 1638 and 1643. And as a verb, to enter into a formal agreement or contract, a covenant, right? One who enters into a solemn agreement, right? So then when we want to do the etymology of contract, to draw into a smaller compass, or this is like contract instead of, let's do the noun contract and not contracting. Uh Agreement between two or more persons to do or not do some particular thing, originally, especially of marriage, from Old French contract, from Latin contractus, a drawing together, a shrinking, a contract, an agreement, from the past participle of contrahere. Hope I'm, again, forgive me if it's being butchered, to draw several objects together, draw in, shorten, lessen, abridge, metaphorically make a bargain, make an agreement, from assimilated form of com, with, together, trahere, to draw, in reference to the writing which contains agreements and its item and its terms and conditions in the 1610s. U.S. underworld sense of arrangement to unalive someone. First recorded 1940, right? So we're going to stop sharing. So now the difference between a contract and a covenant. When we looked at the etymology of a covenant in its noun, in the form of a noun, it actually did reference what we call God's agreements with mankind. Those are called covenants. The Ark of the Covenant refers to the vessel in which the Bani Israel placed the covenant of God, right? They placed that covenant there. It's supposed to be like a big artifact now, blah, 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 blah. You know, the history, both real and mythological. They make a mythological part of it. But anyway, we're not going to get into that. When we talk about biblical things, the covenants that God made with Ibrahim, the covenant that he would make with the prophets and things of that nature. Those things are biblical. Those have an insinuation of a spiritual base, that there is a spiritual component to a covenant that is missing in a contract, right? Even when we went to the dictionary, hey baby, sound like a baby. Even when we went to the dictionary to talk about contract, it started talking about business. It started talking about what could be legally enforced. It did not say that for covenant. Covenant was not referred to as something that could be legally enforced. Only contracts can be legally enforced. So it would behoove them to place marriage underneath contract, because nowadays a marriage could be legally enforced. Now, let's do a little bit deeper dive before I really get into it. If we lived in a place that did not separate God's law from the law, hear me out, follow me. If we lived in a place that did not separate God's law from the law of the land, in other words, if there was no separation of, quote, church and state, in the sense that the law of the land was actually based in the law of the Most High, then it could be legally enforced. Following me? For example, let's say if I lived in a country ran by Sharia, I could legally get married in that country, because the marriage that I would perform in the masjid would be seen as legal even in a governmental sphere. Following me? So it would be a legal marriage, because the law in that case would actually be reflective of God's law. And so therefore, that law could be enforced by judges and everything, because there are laws and rules according to marriage. Even when you get married, especially actually when you get married under God's law, there's definitely rules. There's definitely rules. It's definitely things that you can do and you can't do. And those things under this particular example that I'm giving actually could be enforced by law, by the environment, because the law of the land would be reflecting the law of God, not completely opposite it. The values that you would hold as a worshiper of the Most High would be the same values that were inculcated in the society where you live. The problem in America and other such countries, westernized countries, is that the law that governs the land is not only different from the law of the Most High, it is its opposite. Let me say that again. The issue with being legally married for people who value their spiritual values, for any one of us who says that we follow the laws of the Most High and we are invested in the values of the Most High that is set out, whether you read the Bible, whether you read the Quran, whether you read the Torah, whatever it is that you read, right? The problem for us is that not only is the law of the land different than those laws, it is its complete opposite. So what God Most High created, we going there today. What the Most High created, which is the institution of marriage. Man did not create that institution nor that concept. That concept is created by Allah. That concept is created by the Most High. That is his institution for man, for mankind. He created that. Man did not do that. It is not a man-made institution. What's going on right now here in America with the courts and the divorce laws and that's man-made. That is man-made. Not only is it man-made, it is inspired by Shaitan. Because the way that it works drives towards the destruction of family, and the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the way that the Most High introduced the concept and institution of marriage was one to bring people together, to bring families together, to strengthen the community, to strengthen people. Now, the what makes marriage useless in these countries, in these Western countries, in this place, is that men, when they get married, they want the covenant. And the women, when they get married, they want the contract. That's the main difference. Main difference is that when men get married, they are seeking the covenant. And when women get married, they are seeking the contract. Now, when marriage is contractual, I'm gonna get into it. But first, let me do after these messages. We'll be right back. Because you gonna need to moisturize yourself and sit down and relax and kick a toe up as we do this lesson. And the only way you're gonna be able to do that is if you hit the link at the top of the chat, ashkicking.com. If you're looking to keep your skin looking and feeling and even smelling its best for all day moisturization, for your skin to be baby butter soft, then what you need to do is hit the link once again at ashkicking.com. If for whatever reason you've been dragging your feet and this is going to be your first order, then I definitely encourage you, go ahead and get that 10% discount off using the promo code Crimson. If that's going to be your first order at Ash Kicking. For those of you, it's probably going to be for others, it's going to be your second, third, fourth, whatever order. I know I'm going to keep going back because this body butter, listen, when I say, okay? So anything, all of these body care things are awesome. From the body butter to the lip balms to the deodorant, etc., etc. You definitely, ashkicking.com is your one-stop shop. Beautiful product, beautiful packaging, wonderful product, and actually there's also wonderful customer service as well. I love doing business with them. So definitely, once again, hit the link, ashkicking.com. I don't know how many likes I need to give y'all, but bam, 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 bam. You gotta hit the like button. Bam, bam. You gotta or likes that you should give me rather. Let me check out some of these super chats and we're going to keep going. Thank you, Miss Lucasey, for your super sticker. Thank you, Steve, for your contribution. Thank you, Big Ben. Said, bam, bam, better hit the like button. You better believe it. And for all of you who are watching from Facebook as well, I want to try to get my Facebook followers that follow my page. And not everybody is on YouTube. So I have opened that up. I've been going live on Facebook every day for the past few weeks. So hello to all my Facebook people. So anyways, let's dive into the lesson that we talking about. You caught on something? How you caught? Would be something silly. Oh, there we go. Okay. So just to get back to the lesson, contractual, the contractual marriage. This is what's making marriage untenable, right? The contractual marriage, it is seated in its lost value system. The contractual partnership. Notice the language that surrounds the concept of getting married now. There are partnerships. I'm looking for a partner. I'm looking for a teammate. I'm looking for, and all these other things. Not I'm looking for a husband and wife. That verbiage, that terminology is now not so popular. That seems to be, quote unquote, spoken about as if it is antiquated. It's played out. Nobody says they're looking for husbands, they're looking for wives. Everybody's looking for a partner. Everyone is looking for, a business partner, basically. So we understand that the contractual marriage is rooted and seated in the lost value system because it lacks any tie to any spirituality at all. And it is about wealth. It is about money. It is about leisure. It is about profession. It is not about spiritual value, health, or family. Okay? It is not about that. So the contractual version of a marriage, as we know it to be today, is seated and rooted in the lost value system. It must be done through the state. If we recall just a little while ago when we did the definition of a contract, it specifically said something that could be legally enforced. It's got to be through the state because the state is her enforcer. The state is her enforcer. That's who's gonna, give you a knuckle sandwich when you don't do, quote unquote, what she wants you to do. That's who's gonna show up and give you a wedgie and a wet willy. You understand? That's who's gonna show up and teach you a thing or two about what you were supposed to be doing and what you weren't supposed to be doing in this marriage. The law, the state is her enforcer. She can go to a court. She can go before a judge. She can go before these entities. She can go to the police department. She can go to these institutions. She can go to these entities. And she can report you. Snitch. All on you. Whether she's lying or not is immaterial. Whether she gives the context or not, irrelevant. As a matter of fact, they don't even want the context. They don't even want any of that. They just want her to file the divorces or whatever, or do whatever it is that she's going to do from a legal standpoint. This is why she wants that leverage. The next thing in a contractual marriage, he is not a husband. He is a partner. She is not his wife. She is a partner. Number 3, the contractual marriage is predicated on financial security and gain for her. It is predicated on financial security and gain for her. This is why they're able to rip behind. Well, she need, you know what I'm saying? When the lady stole $20,000 from her husband, that wasn't no big deal to the hyena. She was supposed to be able to do that because contractual marriages, these business agreements, are predicated and founded upon the concept of financial security for her. Nothing to do with you. This is where the other clip with the other lady where they were actually at the altar and the pastor was like, for richer, for poorer, and she was stuttering on the for poorer part and she was stuttering on the, you know what I'm saying, the obey part and all that kind of stuff, because those vows, they don't like those vows because the vows that you say in your wedding ceremony are covenants. They have a spiritual connotation to them. The role of a husband and wife is one mandated by the Most High. This contract that they trying to enter into has nothing to do with the Most High at all. Has nothing, therefore, has nothing to do with being a wife or a husband. Please understand. That's why it's problematic. That's why all of the stuff coming with being a wife is problematic. The cooking, the cleaning, the submission, the listening, the leading, all of that problematic because they are not trying to be wives. See, the men want wives, but wives are only women who observe marriage as part of the covenant, not the contract. If you are looking at hyenas, they want a contract, not a covenant. This why they call themselves be laughing at me. From my previous marriage and this one. Because I have not entered into a contractual obligation with my partner. I've entered into a marital covenant with my husband. That's different. They can't even fathom that. That's why it's funny to them. How you getting married without the state to enforce? That's because y'all are not married. Y'all are not married. Y'all are within business contracts. That's different. I'm married. Any lioness with her lion that meant them vows, that meant the vow part. Even if you went down to the justice of the peace and got a contract with the state, even if you did that, if you meant the vow that you said in front of the preacher, if you meant that part of it, if the paper was nothing more than paperwork, but the wedding and the marriage to you happened in front of that preacher, that's the marriage. That's the marriage. The contractual marriage, this is point number 4, can be broken at any time for any reason with little or no consequence for her, Whatever happens to her isn't anything that she can't get over. Even if he passes away. This is why a few years ago, Hyenas was asking, it couldn't have been no more than a year after my late husband passed. And they were trying to comfort me, talking about, why aren't you married again? If you so good and you such a pick me, why aren't you married again? And that puzzled me. Well, it puzzled me because they are in contracts. I was married. So it never occurred to them that I actually loved him and was grieving. That didn't occur to them. That literally did not occur to them. That one of the reasons why I wouldn't have been jumped into a marriage, because Islamically, I was able to do that. You only had, Islamically, if your husband passes away, a wife's grieving period is 4 months and 10 days. After that, she's free to be married again. I was beyond that. But I wasn't ready to be nobody's wife. I had to get my mind right. So, and get my life together, right? So it never occurred to them that one of the reasons why I wouldn't have been married so soon is because I'm actually grieving it. See, if you don't enter into a covenant, but you enter into a state enforced contract where you ain't gotta love him, he ain't really your husband, him dying don't mean nothing. I mean, you might cry 1 or 2 tears, but you ain't really studying that. That's why even in divorces, they don't take no time to kind of regroup and stuff like that, because if a lioness finds herself in a situation where she ends up having to be divorced, that is a grief too, because you grieve the ending of that relationship. Even if it was a relationship that needed to end, you still grieve it. You still grieve it. There's still no happy thing about it. Even if you were in let's say you were really, really in a truly abusive, I'm talking about burning bed type relationship, and you had to get out of there. It was you or him. It was your life or his, and you had to get out of there for the sake of you and for the sake of your kids, and you got on up out of there. Even under that circumstance, that's not a happy circumstance. That's not a happy circumstance. You still going to grieve some part of it. There's still going to be some level of hardship about that, because you're going to have to heal. You're going to have to get yourself together. You're going to have to figure it out. You're going to have to, man, that was crazy. Yeah. But these hyenas run around here have divorce parties. They have little strippers, like they're having a bachelorette party. It's like like the reverse of a bachelorette party. Like they have scribblers come through, male or female, and they have cakes, and they go places. It's be a girl's trip. They go get banged out, all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. I've watched a lioness have to be divorced. She wasn't happy about that. Even though it eventually was the best thing for her, she wasn't happy about it. That didn't make her happy. The fifth point in a contractual marriage is that it is lacking in all spiritual matters, codes, principles. And the reason why it is lacking in spiritual matters, code, principle is because business business, as we understand it in a capitalistic society here in America, business is not and should not be influenced by ideas of morality, spirituality, or God. Spirituality is of no consequence in business, and it is purposely removed from the processes of the contractual marriage and divorce. I hope y'all got y'all pen and paper out. This is one of these shows. I only got 600 people in here. Do we need that repeated? Do we need to be repeated? We'll repeat that. The contractual, get your pen out. The contractual marriage, as we understand it, is lacking in all spiritual matters of code principles, is because business in this capitalistic society, secular society in which we live, is not influenced at all by any concept of morality, spirituality, or God or godliness. No righteousness here, right? It is of no consequence because in business, concepts of spiritual morality, moral codes, principles, and all of those things are purposely removed. They have no place. And they are removed from the processes of the contractual marriage and the contractual divorce. And as I stated before, this form, this concept, the modern concept of quote unquote marriage, is designed by Shaitan to destroy families in one of two ways: to make the marriage devoid of any spiritual or morality base, thereby voiding fulfillment from it because no one gets to fulfill their purpose through it, or it prevents it from forming in the first place, which is what we're talking about. Men coming to the conclusion that they can't get married here because it is useless to them. That is one of the hearts of the matter. That is one of the hearts of the matter. Do we understand this? Do we understand? This is why I ain't get on that panel last night. When they say, why come men don't want to get married no more? They can't deal with this. The boneyard can't deal with what I just said. First of all, it's not debatable. I refuse to debate facts. I'm not debating no facts with the boneyard. I'm not investing my time in such futile talk. So the contractual form of marriage, modern marriages as we understand them, is designed to destroy the family unit in one of two ways. The first way is to make it so miserable, make it so unfulfilling that if a marriage is performed, it's going to end up in divorce. And number two, to prevent the marriage from happening in the first place by making it so unappealing that the men, and I focus on the men because men gatekeep marriages and relationships, they don't want to do it. Especially here in this society, in this climate, they don't want to do that. That ensures that the family unit is not formed. It is either not formed or it's broken. Now, what's the difference between that and the contract? How many likes do I get? I know this one ain't popular. See, it's all good when we talking cray. It's all good when we talking cray. But when we get to teaching, so I told y'all I was gonna come back to this teaching. Did you not know? Did you not know? What's going on with these lights? Wait a minute. I know that don't say. Hold on. I got 380 likes and like 600 people in here, almost 600 people. Didn't I tell you we like problems? Didn't I tell y'all that the vast majority of the people that talk about, well, we need the solution, them be the very people that don't want the solution. They don't want the solution. And look, it's all good. It's all good if you don't want the solutions, but somebody want the solution. Somebody want it. Somebody need it. Somebody need it. Hmm? Hit the likes. Get the channel back in the algorithm. Contribute if you like. The covenant. The covenant form of marriage is that which is ordained by the Most High. Because it is not something that you just say to each other as the couple, but you are also taking oath before your Lord. It is based in the 10 life value system where spirituality, health, and family are premier. The spiritual value come first. The marriage is rooted in your spiritual value. The characteristics of the covenant is that the state is not a necessary component of the marriage. The covenant implies a form of sanctity or an oath, as I said, between the people and the Most High. Okay? Because people was getting married before there was anything, such thing as a state or a piece of paper, right? The covenant recognizes the origin of the concept of the institution of marriage is not man-made. It is made by the Most High. We are not partners. The next one is within a covenant, you are not partners. You are husband and wife. You are the groom and the bride. Those stations are positions assigned by the Most High, not man. The position of the husband or the groom is one who grooms his bride. Let's go back. This is still on the etymology, not the definition. The etymology of groom, surnames, male, child, boy, a youth, a young man, also male servant, attendant, minor officer in a royal or noble household, ranking higher than a page, a knight's squire, a word of unknown origin with no certain cognates in other Germanic languages. Perhaps it is from an unrecorded Old English grammar, which could be related to grow on, to grow, and influenced by guma, man, or perhaps it is from or influenced by Old French grommet, boy, young man in service, serving man. Now, let's do husband. Husbander, male head of a household, the master of a house, a householder. Okay. Literally the house dweller from hus, house, bandi, a householder, dweller, freeholder. Peasant from buandi. Hope I'm not butchering that too much. To be, exist, grow, right? Now, let's do bride. Woman newly married or about to be. Woman being married. Gothic cognate brups, however, meant daughter-in-law, and the form of the word borrowed from Old High German into medieval Latin bruta or Old French brie, not sure, had only this sense. In ancient Indo-European custom, the married woman went to live with her husband's family. Thus, the sole newlywed female in such a household would have been the daughter-in-law, right? Now, wife. Let me skip this. Apparently felt as inadequate in its basic sense, leading to the more distinctive formation with men. Dutch with now means in slang girl, babe, having softened somewhat from earlier sense of bitch. The modern German cognate also tends to be slighting or derogatory. It is a woman, a female person, woman of gentle birth, a lady. I want y'all to pay attention. Words for woman also double for wife. Why? Why? Think about it. Why must a man become a husband? And the words, the etymology, historically, the same word for woman was the word for wife. Because that is our purpose for being created. We are actually supposed to innately be that. We're supposed to take that on. Whatever else we did, that is our main purpose. We can do a whole lot of things. The station of a husband and a wife has rules. There are expectations, not only for each other, but expectations set by the Most High. What a husband's supposed to be, what a wife's supposed to be. This is why I speak about men and their purpose. Because a husband is the master of the house. In order to be the master of the house, you have to master these things, all 10, to the best of your ability. The first one is spiritual. Your husband is more than he is your benefactor financially, he's your spiritual leader. As much or more as he is your financial benefactor, he is also your spiritual leader. This is why the concepts of submission, following, all of those things are foreign to the hyena because partners don't do that. I'm not submitting and obeying and being led around by a business partner with which I could break a contract at any time. Submission by a woman to a husband is a mandate from the Most High, but it does not come without conditions. And those conditions are he must meet the expectations set down by the Most High for him being a husband. Because husbands get wives and partners end up with other partners. Lions get lionesses and hyenas get other hyenas. Let the wicked be for the wicked. Let the fornicator be for the fornicator. And let the righteous men be for the righteous women. This is why I talk the way I talk to the lioness. I'm not telling her to have conditional femininity. But the husband and the wife have rights upon each other. And those rights are not arbitrary. Those rights are set by the Most High. So if you don't like your role as a wife or you don't like your role as a husband, talk to your Lord about that. I suggest you fall on your knees and you ask him, why did he put these burdens on you? Why he do that to you? You better ask somebody. Because the burdens that are on the shoulders of my husband, I didn't put them there. I didn't put them there. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put those burdens on him. I didn't put them stipulations on him. I didn't put the conditions. It's conditional. It just ain't from me. My position with him is also conditional. Let me start disobeying not only him, but Allah on some type of regular basis, and I can't be corralled. And see, don't it stop. The conditions of me being a wife don't come from him. Don't come from my husband. It's come from my Lord. This is why hyenas are such bad people. And why they're not fit. They are fit for the contracts that they try to come up with. Since they allowed, listen, let me tell you something. Since they allowed Shaitan to delude them out of the covenant that the Most High set for men and women to interact in the way that we supposed to interact, then let them figure out all these isms and schisms, whether it should be 50-50, or should we be able to step out on your partner, or should you be able to have 4-5 people, is it polyamorous? The Most High never give no he never gave no sanction to polyamory and all that kind of stuff. Well, should you go out on coffee? They got to figure out dates. They got to figure out the transaction. They got to make it up as they go, because there is no structure. And there's no structure because it has gone completely and totally away from what the Most High actually said it was supposed to be, because marriage is not a man-made institution. He just corrupted it. The reason that it doesn't work outside of what the Most High said it was supposed to be is because that's not the dominion of mankind. Mankind didn't do that. They got to figure out, is you supposed to date single mothers, and is it, but it shouldn't even be the epidemic that it is. The problem is that we have left the set of values that the Most High told us to have. Because whether you Muslim, or whether you say you Christian, or whether you say you Hebrew, or whether you whatever it is you say you are, our values actually supposed to line up. We supposed to line up, at least in general, about where your value system's supposed to be coming from. This is why I talk about the values the way that I do. When I watched Hamp's panel a few days ago, and he asked the men on the panel, not the women. He asked the men on the panel, what was their standard? What was their value system? What was their code that they lived by? And when them brothers couldn't answer that code, Hamp actually was the only one that answered the question. He was able to answer the question that he asked. And he said his code of life, his standard, come from the Bible and scripture. At least it came from a spiritual base where it's supposed to come from. When those men could not articulate what they code was as men, these are the men that I warn lionesses not to get involved. He may just be a lost lion. He may be. Or he might be a hyena. Either way. If he has no system, order, structure, if he doesn't know where his standard come from, he's not fit yet to be in the husband position, because the husband is the master. The husband is the leader. You gotta have a structure for that. You can't, it's like telling somebody to go to school, come to school, but it ain't never no classes. Ain't no curriculum, just come to school. No. And I know it's going to be some folk that don't like that I said that. But I'm going to say another unpopular opinion. If you were male and you heard what I just said, if you can't articulate even to yourself where your standards come from, what your code is, what your principles are, and you got offended because I said you ain't ready yet for the leadership position, you might want to take a look in the mirror for that. Not coming off of that. Can't ask for followership if you're not in the position of leadership. You got to find your way first. You have to find your way first. And then you come get a lioness to follow. Mm-hmm. Oh, baby. These 10 life values ain't playing with y'all. Thought I was playing with y'all. Thought I was playing with you. Thought I was playing with you. I ain't playing with nobody. Year 2024, this is the year where the truth got to be stated, and it must be stated plainly. The truth ain't scared of no lie. The truth ain't scared of no lie. I ain't trying to hurt nobody's feeling. I'm trying to help you. I ain't trying to hurt nobody's feelings. The men or the women. I'm not here to hurt your feelings. I'm here to tell you the truth. Because you can be a lioness and ain't ready yet. You got to figure out, get some of that boneyard about you. You don't follow good. Don't mean you ain't a lioness, but you got to show up some things. A wayward lion that ain't ready to run a pride yet. It's lions that ain't ready to run a pride yet. He ain't ready. He can challenge that alpha if he can run up against that brick wall if he wants to, even it's not gonna work. How many lions in here have experienced trying to be in the leadership position before he was ready and it all got messed up? Put a 1 in the chat. Go on, be honest. This is a safe space. Go ahead, be honest. I ain't here to take your head off. I ain't talking to you male hyenas. I ain't talking to you hyenas. Y'all mess up a wet dream. We ain't talking about you. We talking about lions who stepped into that position prematurely. Yeah. See, lions ain't scared to say, yeah, I messed that up. Stepped into a position that he wasn't quite ready to fulfill at that time. And if he's a lion, he learned from it. Say, okay, let me get myself together a little bit better than that. I got to come back by a little better than that. And I may not be able to come back to that woman, or she might not even be worth me coming back to her specifically. But when I get myself straightened up a little better than that, I can come better than that. I can have a better system. I can have a more clarity in how I'm moving as a man. And then I can give her clarity on how she need to move with me. That's all that is. That's all that is. That's all that is. I'm just trying to get the lionesses on that same road. You might have messed up something. That don't panic. That don't mean you're not a lioness. You still got your fur. Check your paws. You still got your, you understand? But just because, see, we when we know better, we gonna do better now. That's all. That's all it is. When we know better, we got to do better now. I'm a lioness. I done messed stuff up. No. 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 Actually, Matrix is my husband. Matrix is my husband. I done messed stuff up as a lioness. You think I ain't never had a smart mouth? You think I ain't never talked out of turn? You think I ain't never got into a space where I was too masculine? You think I ain't never had to grow and get some of that boneyard about me? Born in the boneyard. Told you that. You got to get some of that boneyard about you and all that kind of stuff. It didn't mean I wasn't a lioness, but it did mean that I needed to stop. I needed to reflect. And I needed to get myself together if I wanted a lion of any, worth the mane on his head to come get me. That's how you learn. You don't got to make all the mistakes. But you make a couple of them. And you learn from them. And you get yourself together. And you come out strong. And you be a lioness for real. It's so much more. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna wrap it up. It's so much more this, what I do here, talking about the value system, talking about lions and lionesses. I know we got our own kind of lingo over here on this channel, and all of that is nice, all of that is cute, and all of that. But this is so far beyond the surface level talking points, and this is so far beyond you just saying it's to pander to men and you just trying to, curry. I ain't got a curry favor with nobody but two individuals, two beings, two beings I need to curry the favor of. I need the favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I need to curry that favor. I need to be in his good graces. Do you understand that? If there's any pandering going to be done, it's going to be done to my Lord. Do you get that? And the other person, the person that I want to stay in good graces with is my husband. I got to stay in good graces with him. And the reason why it's so important to curry favor with my husband is because Allah loves the wife that is submissive and obedient to her righteous husband. That's a wife. It said that the wife who dies while she had observed proper worship and her husband is pleased with her enters into paradise through any of its doors without reckoning. No reckoning. I ain't got to give an account for the minutia of this and that. Mm-mm. This is why it's so important to be a wife. The position of wife is an honored position. That position is honored by the Most High. And when the Most High honor you, it ain't nobody that can dishonor you. Don't let no back-footed boneyard dishonor you about your position as a wife. Because you want to be a wife to your husband. Because you want to follow your husband's righteous lead. Because you admire him and you want to please your Lord by pleasing him. Don't let no back foot. She don't know what it is to be a wife. She only know what it is to be a whore. If the Most High honors your position as a woman and as a wife, can't nobody bring dishonor to that position. Nobody. I want each and every lioness in here, whether she married or not, to understand that simple but profound point. The position of wife, and by extension of that, mother. The position of womanhood. Do you understand me? They try to make it so low, but it ain't low. It ain't low. They try to make it seem like it's stupid, like you ain't got no business doing that, and you dumb, and you doing this and doing that, like you ain't got no sense. But understand that the Most High has raised you to a position that not many can withstand. You understand me? And the reward is great. The reward for it is beyond anything that you can get in this world. Even if your marriage didn't work, if you can be honest with yourself and be honest with your Lord and say, to the best of your ability, you was the best wife you knew how to be, there's still a reward. The honor is still high. The honor is still high. It ain't low. It's high. And you take it and you learn from the experience what you got to learn, because it's always a lesson in it. And then you take that lesson, you internalize it, you ask the Most High for clarity and for guidance on that. Because in the absence of your husband, your SOSC, your spiritual code and moral and values, not just for men, it's for women too. Come on, talk to me. In the absence of a man, in the absence of your daddy, in the absence of your husband, in the absence of any man that would ever cover you, your SOS come from the Most High. That's where your principles come from. That's where your system, order, and structure come from. That's where it come from. When my first husband died, I still had a SOS to follow. You better come on. I still had it. Where did it come from? Who was in charge of that? The Most High. He ain't go nowhere. He ain't go nowhere. Huh? I buried my first husband, not my Lord. I didn't bury my Lord. And I wasn't perfect in that, but I knew that's where my salvation was at. I knew that's where my structure come from. I knew that's where how I'm supposed to live come from. And the Most High blessed me with a husband. The Most High blessed me to maintain the status of wife. Not because I'm so wonderful. Do you understand me? Not because I'm so wonderful. Not because I'm so fine. Not because I'm so smart. Not because it's this and that. The Most High bless me with that status. Somebody needed this today. Thank you, Protron, for your super sticker, beloved. Thank you so much. Thank you, HVAC. And my grandfather said it best. Medicine tastes good is actually bad. And the medicine is bitter tastes good. Hyenas hate solutions. Thank you, Miss Bella. And thank you, Miss Mia, for your super sticker, sweethearts. Thank you, Elder Ben said wisdom is a principal thing. Therefore, get understanding. Many of our people resist it. How unfortunate. How unfortunate indeed. Thank you, James said. Thank you, sister. Thank you. Thank you, Supreme 10 said if there's no marriages in America, two things take place. One, laws will be passed via bachelor, bachelorette taxes. Two, divorce family courts could very well come to an end. America could collapse. Thank you so much. You can't see me. I appreciate you. Thank you, Seti Jakata said, you doing the Most High's work we love you for. You saving lives and marriages out here. Trust and believe the seeds you plant today will bear mighty trees tomorrow. Keep cooking. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chano. Say your first month of 24 has been fire. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you, H. Baxter. This teaching explains everything why those hyenas were turned off by me in high school. They saw a young man led by the Most High. Only the devils flee when he sees that type of power. Hyenas are not fit. Thank you again, H. Baxter. If a man can control his Johnson wallet or stomach, he's not a man. At 25 going on 26, brothers, this ain't hard. Pookie doesn't have standards. Thank you, Uton. Said, good evening, Sister Davis. Did you marry both your husbands without a state contract? Yes. Both were the same. I just don't believe in it in this society. Like I said, if we were under Sharia, then it would automatically be logged with the state because the state would be run by the same law we live by as Muslims. This law is run by Shaitan, so we can't involve him in what we do. Thank you, RBG. And when I say that, let me clarify. I'm not saying for any Muslims listening, I'm not saying that it is a haram for you to go down to the state contract. Allahu Alam, whether it's haram or not. I'm not here to say that it is or not. I don't have no opinion on that. The only thing I'm saying is to Islamically to satisfy the condition of nikah, the state contract is not necessary. That's all I'm saying. Thank you, RBG. Said it takes a system to support a marriage. Neely Fuller Jr. What does a lioness do with a lost lion or vice versa? That's tough. What does a lioness do with a lost lion? Depends on how lost he is. Is he so lost that he can't lead her? Because he's in a different position than her. A strong lion can direct a lioness if she's a little bit lost. But a solid lioness is not in position of leadership, even on a lost lion. So it would be difficult for her to get him to sort of get on track to a certain degree because she doesn't have authority over him. So if he doesn't get on track, she doesn't really have any consequences for him to face other than leaving the relationship if she has to leave it. So that's actually a tough one because I recommend patience, but I also don't recommend the wasting of anybody's time or resources or energy on people that are in stages in their life where they're just not ready, if that makes sense. Thank you, Don C. I just want to say thank you for your words and thoughts and all that you do. Small donation, but a beautiful program. Loved it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And thank you once again. HVAC says salvation or revelation. You must choose family. See y'all tomorrow. Thank you so much. Let me get to yes, this means that there is no state license for either of my marriages. The first one, nor this one. I personally do not believe in getting that state licensure in order to solidify or differentiate or do anything with the union that me and my husband have sought to be in. Like I said, what we did satisfies the Islamic law of what a marriage is. So in the eyes of Allah, which is really the only thing that is of concern to me or to him, is we are lawfully married under Allah's law. But if you're talking about state law, I don't got no state license or anything, and not looking for it. The only way I would ever do that is if there's some legal obstacle for whatever reason that I couldn't overcome, and that's the only answer to resolve it, perhaps. But neither me nor him are concerned with that. There are other things to be done legally to ensure certain things happen, but I ain't worried about it. I never encountered no legal issue with that. Nothing that I ever did with my husband in his life nor in his death was ever barred by me not having a state license for it. If that. So hopefully that answers your question. Let me look at the cash apps. Let's see. I know I got at least a couple. Thank you. Let's see who I got. EMB. I thought I had more than that, but nope, just one. Thank you, EMB, for the cash app today. I appreciate it. All right. Jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your hostess, The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.